Yeah, so hello, welcome.
What's up, bitches?
What's up, bitches? Welcome to A Filmmaker's Brain. This week's episode is the third we're doing so far.
Yes,
and it's about one of my all-time favorite movies, Big Fish, from 2003 by Tim Burton. And yeah, do you got anything to say about that, or should I start?
Amazing movie.
Amazing movie. Yeah, it was the first time you saw it.
There. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Tim Burton, or like, well, I am.
Not yet.
Of course I am, but
Yeah.
like, he wasn't in my radar.
No.
Yeah.
So I was shooting this movie straight into your sphere.
And I was sitting in the cinema like, wow.
What?
Amazed.
Yeah, so basically the movie is about this young man, Edward Bloom, that has lived an amazing life. But it starts off with his son in the future, or not in the future, but in the present time, who is very disappointed with him because he thinks that the stories his father used to tell him during his growing up time was all fake, because they're all too amazing to be true, or too cool to be true, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's basically a storytelling about storytelling, and I think that's why I love it so much. It's a very grand movie with a lot of fantasy. Yeah, but like I mean, it's a fantasy movie. They advertise it as a fantasy drama adventure romance comedy.
It's an epic.
It
right?
is an epic.
It's called an epic, right?
Yeah.
Like a big, like I thought about it like it was very clear to me while watching it. I was like, well, I get this feeling of it being like really close to Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Or like the same. Like, I love Forrest Gump. I think it's really cool. I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And like from time to time, I get this feeling like, oh, I really want to see Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And it's because the raw, like, narrative feeling about it. Like,
Yeah.
this is a story.
It's very close to you.
Yeah.
It's inviting you into the story. Like,
Yeah.
you are there. You're not just watching. And that's what I love about this type of movie making as well. And the funny thing was, when you said this thing about Forrest Gump, that I was checking IMDb right before we're going to shoot now. And it says that someone has called Big Fish Tim Burton's version of Forrest Gump. That basically Big Fish is just a fantasy version of Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Because it's about telling stories from a man's wonderful life.
The only difference is basically that Forrest Gump was pretty.
It was very clear.
Yeah,
it was very naked telling.
Yeah,
it was very
and he was very young when he was telling the stories as well. Like, he had this amazing life, but
he had this amazing life in 10 years.
Ahead him. So, but it, you know, there's a couple of movies that really feels like this is a story. Like, yeah, of course, all movies, like, it's all telling a story, right?
Right.
But there is like movies that I called it here in my notebook. I called it a comforting story.
That's right.
You know what? I get the feeling. Well, my grandmother, when I was a kid, she would stay beside the bed and she would tell me stories.
Right.
And for me, like, those years, when I think about storytelling, I think about all the fantasies that I had, you know.
Yeah.
When I was in bed and she would tell me like these stories about the guy that had fished out this fish that had a ring in it and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Those stories, like, and I could see it in front of me, like, that feels like one of those stories. And it's basically because there's someone telling a story, and it's very comforting. It's very like glossy.
Yeah.
It's very
dreamy.
Yeah, it's very dreamy.
Because the thing is, like, when you say it like this, my grandmother passed away last year, and while we were at the funeral, it was a very small funeral. It was like basically me, my father, my sister, and 3 other people, and when we're having this funeral, the minister that had talked to my father, she's telling these amazing stories about who my grandmother was when she was very young. Like, she was a feminist of her time. She started her own company. She did a lot of things that I never had any idea about. And it was basically the same feeling that I get from watching Big Fish, because she told these stories and I was like, hey, I want to live an amazing life. Like, I missed all this. Like, I didn't see it. And I could wish that, like, Big Fish and this kind of situation is both making me want to travel in time. Like, I want to go back. I want to see people's stories, what lives they lived. I want to live
the
these
whole
stories.
life. It feels so big, you know.
It's amazing.
And it's only like 2 hours and I don't know 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I got to know this whole person, you know. I
in
saw
2 hours.
their life, you know.
Yeah.
But it's I felt like if you don't know the basis of a story, or if you don't have this, because we see stories, or like our understanding of what stories are,
Yes.
it's not the same as people that are not in this field.
No.
You know, a story would, like, if you say something,
We see it cinematically.
what is a story? Well, they would tell you, yeah, well, a story is me telling you about what happened yesterday, or, you know, a story could be, you know, a saga or something like that. And our understanding of a story is like, a story is this amazing, extraordinary thing that happened.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you from the most entertaining way possible.
And a story can be categorized, and a story can be put into boxes, a story can be displayed in different ways, and a story can be told by different voices. Like, we see so many different like possibilities on how to tell a story, because we're both filmmakers. We write movies, we make movies, even if we're still in the amateur part of this.
Yes.
But it was the first
working class.
We're working class filmmakers.
But what I meant was that if you don't see it the way we see it,
Yeah.
that's the closest to understanding it. Like, watch that movie,
Yeah.
and you will get a glimpse at what we
Yeah.
understand.
We see
like,
other
stories
dimensions.
Like, this is clearly, like, this is how clear a story can be.
Yeah.
Someone actually telling a story, and he's making it so big and so dramatic and so grand. Yeah. So like that what I loved, really, like that raw feeling of how a story is.
But this was your first time seeing it.
Yeah.
So the thing with this movie, as many of the movies that we talk about in general, both here in the podcast but also like outside, is that this I'm losing myself. What did I say?
Like that when watching it again, you see another part of it.
You start seeing
definitely.
like you will find new things every time. And the thing is, like, Tim Burton is a master of Easter eggs. Not in the way that you usually see Easter eggs. It's like, hi, I hid something here, but he makes it like you're looking for something without even knowing they're there. Like, you're not even Googling saying, hey, there's 36 Easter eggs in Big Fish, and you go, oh shit, I'm gonna find all of them. Like, you will start looking for 50 Easter eggs, because you get like, he's hidden something in here. Like, he's talking to me. And I think that that's what I love with all of his films, because they're very unique. They're a very different kind of way. But
I really like when you said that, I the first thing I thought about when the movie was finished,
yeah,
like, I was like, I need to understand. You know, it's like there is so much to it. Like, I don't understand, but I do understand. You know,
I want to be a part of this, but I'm not a part of this.
Like, what does it mean? Like, what is the true stories? 'Cause, like, you know, you get this feeling of, well, the people are there.
Yeah.
At his funeral,
yes,
people are there that are from this, like, from the story,
from the stories out of his life.
Okay, well, I understand, but he still had a wonderful, extraordinary life.
Yes,
and I want to learn about that. You
but
know?
I think that one of the main themes that is also one of the most important part of this movie is how you decide to live your life. Because, like, through the stories he's telling, and actually I've heard I've heard that I can kind of do this thing as well. My father does this thing as well. Like, I think that's also one of the reasons why I liked it.
Yes, you do. I was talking to Jonas and we talked about this, and I was like, yeah, when she tells like a funny or awkward story about something I did, oh, it's really bad, and I'm like, no, no, it wasn't like that.
No, but it's like it's not actually about exaggerating stories. It's about telling them in a way that people would like to hear them.
Yeah,
and it's not about lying. It's not about adding shit to the story. It's more like adding spice to the story. Like, I've had so many different situations in life where I have put myself in awkward situations, and I mean, these are my best party stories because I felt like an idiot, so I tell them in a way that they are invited to feel like an idiot. Yeah, basically, they're like,
I think you're very good at that, and it's like, and well, the movie discusses that.
Yeah,
exactly that. Like, what is he lying? And I'm like, kid, shut up, shut the fuck up, it doesn't fucking matter, okay? This, whatever happened, you know. He's not telling you that he killed or like murdered someone.
No.
It's not about that. You're trying to find true, like, well, there is truth in this.
But I think also that like an interesting character thing in this movie is that Edward Bloom, who's the main character, is played by Ewan McGregor as a young person and by Albert Finney as the old present version. And Albert Finney is portraying a version of Edward Bloom who is very like fine with being dying, because that's where we're at when the movie starts. And he's very fine with everything, and he's very sad that his son is disappointed in his stories, but at the same time he's like, I can't be anyone else. This is who I am, this is the stories I told, this is the life I lived, while his son is like, but hey, I need the truth. And he said, well, this was my truth, basically. So I think that this is a great subject.
I don't think I don't think that it's his truth, but I think that that's the way he
wants to tell the truth.
Yeah, that's the way he wants to be remembered.
But I also think that he I think he genuinely think I genuinely think that
you generally think
cut me out, but that he I can't say this word again. Shit.
Generally
cut me out.
Generally think. Go ahead.
Yeah, he thinks that this is his truth, because like it's like I said, he's not excusing himself in any way. It's like, sorry you don't like my stories, or sorry you don't believe in them, or whatever, but this is what I told and this is how I experienced it.
But did you feel like, because like the only negative thing I would say about this movie is that the son's character, he's so whiny, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's like, I understand what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And of course he did it. And he did it well. But it was like a bit overdone.
Yeah.
Like his like, oh, I can't understand this. Like, you're lying to me. Like, whoa, like it feels like he did something
all
bad
you tell
to him.
are lies.
I think it makes sense, but he didn't put the time to make us understand how bad it was for him when he was gone.
No.
You know, we never saw him.
We never see the son's
kid.
reactions as a child. I think
that's like a big point to having a sympathy.
We're having some troubles with words here.
Excuse me, we'll take a break for technical issues.
Technical difficulties, gentlemen.
So, like, to have sympathy for him, you need to
understand why he was so badly...
or else you just think he's a douche.
Yeah.
Which maybe Tim Burton wanted us to feel, but you know what I mean? It's like... I just don't understand him, because he's just being this whiny kid and he can't just let it go while his father is dying.
Also, like, a special add to this story is actually the son's wife, because she's so positively she's
She likes
positive
the
to his
story.
stories. She likes the stories. On the other hand, she doesn't have a relationship to the whole
father, yeah.
to the father in that way. But I think I know what you're talking about, and also I think that's an interesting part to it. Because you only get a very, very brief introduction to when the father is telling stories to him when he's in his bed, or during a camping trip with his friends and everything.
And you're like, okay, that's good. That's
okay,
good
okay,
parenting,
cool.
that's
He's telling
good, yeah.
stories all the time, and I can see how the father is taking up all the space, and that's why he's irritated. But I can't see, as you say, how it would you can understand that an absent father will make a difference into a son's life. You can even understand
if you
anger.
show me that,
but you need to show that.
if you show me that, then I will believe that his son is mad, and that his son is whiny, and he doesn't think this is fair, and he doesn't think that he knows his father. But in the other hand, I think something that were underdone or lit up, or I don't know how you would say it, like it needed more attention to.
Okay.
His son is a journalist.
Yes.
He likes to do research. He likes to see where the truth is in things.
Yes.
I think that should have been like,
because that could have been something even more interesting, that it's not even about his father or his relationship to his father, it's about the fact that he's an investigating person.
It could be like a mix,
because
and like his investigation was it was very brief.
Yes.
There was nothing much happening.
No.
He went back because his father had like just a few days left.
Yes.
And then he found the paper. It was like that short.
Yeah.
And then he went to the girl's house. Yeah, I guess.
But I want to stop you right there, because the part, so basically, he decides that there's this one thing that he wants to investigate, because he's out of the picture that. Out of the picture, he's having a vision of the fact that his father would have been unfaithful to his mother while being on all of these trips. So he decides that he wants to seek this woman that has been told through a few of the stories. So he seeks her up and goes to her house, and he said, like, he's basically just blurting out, "Did you have an affair with my father?" And
that is what he said when he...
Yeah. Did you have an affair with my father? And she goes like, "Oh, we're not sugarcoating anything here." Basically, like,
she was, "I wish."
Yeah, but like one of the best lines in this movie is because she was a child when he first came to her town, when Edward Bloom first came to her town, and now she's all old when his son is coming to visit him. And I love this line because she says that, like, "Your father came twice into my life," or something. And then she says, "The first time he was too early, and the second time he was too late." Which says so much about a person's life, which says so much about, like, experiences. It says so much about meeting people in your life at the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which,
That's
like,
true.
this movie is basically also about time traveling, because you're like, he's traveling through different places, different towns, different times, and telling stories that, like, hey, I lived 1 million lives in a short amount of time.
There's like several timelines that you're following at the same time.
But it never messy. Like, you never think that this is so messy, I can't I can't hang on to the story, because you're always with him. But the thing I like there is that he asks him, like, "Did you have an affair with my father?" And she goes, like, first she says this, and then she goes like, "Your father loved your mother." He still does, or whatever. And I like that they're bringing this up as a subject, but in a better way than they usually do in movies, because it's so cliche, going all, "Hey, was he unfaithful because he was away all the time?" And it goes, yeah, because whatever, because it doesn't always
be like that.
No, it's not always around that matter. Sometimes you're just a person that maybe wasn't the best person to be a father or the best person to even have a family because you don't know how to work that into your life of adventures.
And sometimes people go into like a relationship and they get kids
and they change.
And suddenly they're like, well, I don't want to be in this relationship. Or like, I don't feel like...
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
people
not supposed
change
to be
you.
Here, but I just have to continue because I have a kid or something like that.
I can't leave.
Yeah, I can't leave. They need me or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
and then they find adventures that make them go away, but always coming back, even though it unfortunately often affects the children. So I mean, the thing, one of the things I like the most about this movie is that it's taking up a lot of harsh issues actually about being a family, about relationships to other people, how your life affects other people's lives, but it's also taking it up in a very, like, you see this very colorful movie. Epic stories, wonderful colors, great music, everything, and you go, oh shit, this was a ride. And after the movie's over, then you're suddenly sitting there and you're like, we've battled a lot of different subjects right here that I feel very strongly about, or you keep thinking about this movie for a long time after you've seen it.
There's so much and like every part of a community, or like, you know, it's talking about crippled people and like they also talk a lot about like people with disabilities, or people who are special, or people who are different and weren't invited to the society, basically. You have Carl the Giant, which is this huge guy that the entire village that lives close to him wants to burn, basically, which is a kind of harsh story. And he's going like, I only eat their sheep because I'm hungry. It's like, well, that's logic. He goes around eating.
Give the man some veggies. I don't know, but give him some food and he won't be an issue or whatever. Yeah. And also, like, the thing, so the funeral that you mentioned earlier, which is basically the epic epos to this movie, where the people that circulated in the father's stories, they're all there, but they're in different shapes than how he described.
Yeah,
like
the giant is not.
The giant is big, but not the giant.
He's
and
big, but
the Siamese twins are twins, but not Siamese. They're not attached together. Like,
I thought that reveal was so cool.
It's so cool
when
like,
she was singing, and then like, oh, there's two. And I'm like, whoa,
there are two of them.
There are two.
But also, it's as cool reveal at the funeral when you realize, oh, they're not attached.
Yeah,
cool,
exactly.
okay.
When one walks away from the other.
Yeah. So I mean, it's basically saying that, hey, things could be the way you tell them without being the way you tell them.
It's like, I think in a way that I don't understand yet, it's like the core of storytelling, because we tell stories, right?
Right.
We tell stories,
yeah,
but they are not true. Not all of them.
No.
They're based on life, on stuff that happens in life, but they are not true.
No.
You know, but does it matter?
Does it make them less true?
No, it doesn't. Like, if a tree falls in the forest and there is no one there to see it.
Yeah. Did
it fall?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it did. Maybe it didn't.
Maybe it did. Did you see it?
It doesn't matter, because like, it's only everything. Everything in life. So deep right now. Everything in life.
We're very, very. What do you call it? What do you call it when you're?
We are very woke.
That was not the word I was looking for, but sure, existential.
Yeah, very existential.
Right now.
But like, this is true though. This is true. I think this is true, or I know this is true. Everything is life.
Right.
Is based on your like experience of it.
Yes.
Everything. There is nothing that is not based on what you think of it.
Yeah.
Did you think that it's real? Maybe you think it's real.
Sure.
You know, maybe you see it as this is such a good movie. It doesn't matter for me if it's real or not, because it's real when I see it.
Yes.
That's the whole thing about making people believe.
What was your favorite character?
Well, I'm not done.
Yeah, I'm asking you this in the middle of this for a reason.
Okay. So, my favorite character. Okay, that's a hard question.
It is. You can't do this?
No, I can't. I don't think I can.
And that's also a part of this, because they're all so true in their versions of not existing to the sun, or basically. You will say, hey, this character is not real, and it's like, to whom?
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. Because, like, if you think about it, the way, because I know he's like telling these stories and where he's the hero.
Yes.
Basically, but first of all, you're the hero of your own story. Okay. Always, and that's the way he wants to see himself.
Yes.
That's
why would
the way
he tell stories?
Everyone want to see themselves as the hero.
Yeah.
Right, and based on those two things, everything big or everything weird or fantastical in the story is based on how he sees those people.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, so you know that, and I think you know this to be true about you. People before they know you, before they get to know you,
yes,
they see you in another way.
Yeah.
And it was the same with me. When I first saw you, it's not the same, like, first impression as, like, the way I feel about you now.
No.
You know?
What was your first impression?
I was
this crazy girl.
I can come back to it, but you know what I mean. So, like,
yeah.
So if I was to write a story where I'm taking you as a character, I wouldn't like, oh, this is Bella. She looks like this. She does this. I would tell an epic story about, I don't know, Bella the Dragon Slayer or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I would exaggerate it. Of course, I do that every time.
But also based on actual things that I have.
Not exaggerate. When I tell people about you, of course, I say these powerful things.
You go, I have this friend who is a dragon slayer.
no, you know, that's fantasy, but you know what I mean. Like, you say, like, oh, she's the best, you know, she's so kind. And people, of course, their response would be like, or what they would think, they wouldn't say that out loud. They would be like, nobody's that good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, you are that good.
Because and you feel that,
Yeah, because that's Aww. I didn't say, I was just saying, it's an example. It doesn't need to be true. But if you want to awe about it, it's okay. Of course, love you.
I'm taking away all of my feelings here.
But you know what I mean?
Yes,
and I think it's based on the same thing.
Yeah.
What was I'm gonna come back to. What was how I saw you the first time.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I saw you, it was when we were shooting Billy.
Yeah.
And we were in the studio.
Yeah.
And you were there as the writer.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, I was like, what is this person doing here? You know? She's just standing in the corner. Like,
so a backstory to this, very, very short, is I wrote this movie called Billy, which another group of young filmmakers took up and decided to shoot. And they invited me to come to the shoot and say, hey, you want to come and see us shoot one of the scenes? And I was like, cool. And even though it was my story, I was feeling so awkwardly, like, not fitting into the picture, basically. So I'll be here in the corner where I make no noise and are not in your way.
Yeah, so like she just stood there in the corner.
Yeah.
And something I hate talking about, like when you are in on a movie set I hate when people just stand around
and not do
and
anything.
not do
yeah,
anything.
because that's not what you do.
Yeah, because there's a lot to do, okay?
Yeah.
There's, like, if you're there and you have a job, there is always more to do in your area. You might be done with whatever you're doing, but if everyone else is, like, panicking and you're just sitting there or standing there, you know?
Yeah.
But so that was the first thing, and then... But the basic...
You go, I hate this girl. She doesn't work.
Basically, you are a very strong person, right?
Yeah.
And I've told you this before, and it really shows on you that you're really strong. But I think most people are like, get almost offended by, you know, by how strong you look.
Yeah.
Or like, it's almost like they see this shield.
Yeah.
You know? And...
people are very skeptical to me in the beginning. They really... I need to push through my own layer to get out to people.
But I think it's only like them not wanting to believe that you're like that. Or just like, you know, not jealous. Or jealous. In a way jealous. But they're jealous of why they are not like that.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with you. It's the same thing with all of our friends, all of the people that we meet, because that's also a thing attached to the movie. That's why we're actually talking about this too.
Sidetrack.
We're not sidetracking too hard, but it's basically because when you meet a person, you have a picture of them, as in your first impression.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you get to know one thing. It's like they tell you one thing, like, hey, I like coffee, and you go, oh, this is a person who needs caffeine to survive. Like, you get this one thing, and then the next time you see they have striped socks, and they say, I only have striped socks, and you go, hey, whoa, why? And then they tell you it's because of their favorite movie or their favorite book character or whatever. Like, you learn these little quirky things about people, and when you do, you suddenly realize that there are so many layers to this person, and suddenly you have
which is what filmmakers try to do,
which is
like
also character making.
Exactly.
And I love that because when I was in my first year of screenwriting studies, then we talked a lot about this. We talked about why we had favorite characters and why we were attached to them and everything. And I'm going to sidetrack a little for a while.
That's okay.
So my screenwriter teacher, he asked the entire class, like, does anyone here have a favorite character, either from a movie or a book? And I said, I do. You know, he goes, yeah, okay, like, stand up. And I don't even know if he asked me to do this, but I stood up in the entire classroom. Everyone was sitting down, and it was like
you acted the character.
But I made a huge deal about this because he said, okay, who's your favorite character? And I said, it's Margot Roth Spiegelman from Paper Towns by John Green, and it's both in the book and in the movie. And he goes, okay,
right.
Cool. And he said, why do you like Margot Roth Spiegelman? And I said,
do you have a half an hour?
Can
I have the mic, please? Okay, you can sit up
there. That's
there.
Almost what happened.
Hermansson, please sit on row 3.
It was not even Hermansson.
I'm gonna take over for... I have a PowerPoint with me, actually.
So I brought this movie that I made myself about this character. No, but okay. So the thing is...
the ways why I like...
I'm trying to finish the story here.
Like, 30 reasons why.
Fuck off.
Reason 1...
Stop. So the thing is, he asks me, why is she your favorite character? And I said, Margot Roth Spiegelman is a character without anything of, like, she doesn't think about consequences. She's very raw. She doesn't care about anyone. She doesn't care what people think. She just walks through people's lives, does whatever she wants to, and also, like, strives to live a great life. And the thing is, like, I basically say that she's ruthless and she graffitis stuff and she's basically a bit violent into her personality.
Well, you don't understand.
and after a while, like, when I'm done, he goes, okay, and why do you like that? And the thing is, like, the entire class is looking at me and he looks at me and I said, because I can relate so fucking much. And, you know, this teacher, he's very...
why do you like that?
Why do you like that? And he looks at me and he's very like, and so you can relate to this. And I said yes. And he said, so you see yourself as ruthless without thinking about consequences, violent, raw. And he brings up all the things I said about her, and then I go, yeah. He goes, very well then. And then I sit
Let's
down,
take a
and it's
break.
like, bye. Exits rolling.
Yeah.
No,
Credits.
but credits rolling. Exits
Fin.
rolling. We're having language troubles here.
Yeah, that's okay. That's really funny. But yeah. Of course, there are characters that, and it's almost like, I don't know. It's so complicated, and it's so different for people. But for some, it's like it's the part of their personality that they never got to explore, or something that they wish they could have gone through, or wish that they could have been. You know. And for some, it's like the way they see themselves, or they feel about themselves. And for some, it's based on that they went through something, and they're like, this person is going through something harsher than that. Yeah. But in the same field, it's so.
One feeling that is described in this movie, which I love. Like, this is the cheesiest love scene of all times, but I love it so much. And every time I see it, I'm all like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Like, basically that.
The one with the mother?
No.
Or like his wife?
No, it's not that. It's the circus scene. So.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Because he says that it's said that when you see the love of your life, time stops, and suddenly everything around him inside of a circus tent stops. Chills. And the best part is,
that was such a good effect.
Because
2003.
And one of the best effects is that when he walks through everything to get to the love of his life,
popcorn.
That's my favorite thing. He's pushing away the popcorn that's stuck in the air, and they go down on the floor and everything. And then he says, what they forget to tell us is that when you actually find them, time starts spinning faster. Yeah. And it's like, I feel that into my core. Like, whenever I hear this line, it's like, I know exactly how this feels. And I think that everyone can relate to these feelings. Like, even if you've never ever been in love, you can see how this is a feeling, and you can relate to the feeling because it's so graphic. It's so into your face.
I love that. Yeah. That was so good. Oh,
I'm so much up in my feels right now. Like, I gotta go watch this movie again.
Yeah, well, I feel the same thing. I feel like but it's because there's so much that, you know why people rewatch like series and stuff? Yeah. Because it's so much that happens that you basically forget.
You follow people for years as like characters.
Let's watch it again because I want to see everything again. Yeah. And I know what's going to happen in this episode. Yeah. And I know what he's going to say. And I know, but you're still like, there's so much to it. Yeah. Let's see it tonight. Okay, so we need to have some closing.
Final words.
Yeah.
Do you have a question for me?
Well, I have a question for you. Well, I had something on my mind, but I think I lost it. Yeah. I think I forgot about it. But we talked about so much, actually. Yeah. Yeah,
we covered a lot.
I wanted to talk about, when we were talking about characters. Yes. I wanted to bring up, okay, so I remembered two things that I want to talk about real quick. First of all, this about telling about a character, or like
revealing a character? No?
Showing those small things about characters that we talked about. Like, it's not the first thing that you see. It's like you need to understand them more and more.
You need to give people time.
Yeah, to like see. I really believe, or it's something that I want to work with. Yeah. Personally, that I want to work with is like a really powerful first scene. Yeah. Okay? I don't want to do like one of those scenes where they're in bed, or like it's in their like bedroom and they wake up or something.
No.
And then you have this dolly where you see their stuff and you're like, oh, so this is
so this is a messy person.
Oh, so he likes baseball. Nice.
Okay.
No. I want a scene like Good Time. Sorry.
We're back again.
you know, I want I want to like get in there and show you like something horrible.
Yeah.
Or like so weird. Like I saw Chinese roulette yesterday.
Yeah.
I know that you've seen it. Like the first scene. What the fuck? And you're like, okay, I get the base, like the feeling.
I'm not sure
of this
I have
movie.
seen it actually.
You didn't see it with Jonas?
No, I don't.
Because he saw it pretty. So
yeah, okay.
It's like about this mother sitting and smoking at the window, and like this creepy music is playing, and then you get to know that it's coming from the room.
Yeah.
And the daughter is there, and the mother is smoking in the same room as the daughter, and you know, and it's very quiet, and they're on opposite sides. You know, that scene
tells so much about the characters.
Tells so much, and it's not like, here is a painting.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
This is the clock that he uses, and there's like some coins. You know, that's just.
This is the voice you're having whenever you think about a movie that's too obvious.
Yeah, it's like this.
This is a clock that I've had since my grandfather.
Like really slow.
What was the second thing you were thinking about?
The second thing.
Yeah.
I want to bring up, and I want people to. And I think this is like, not important, but I think it's like a small detail that someone could use in their favor. This movie does things that like it does like a small trick, right?
Right.
That make you buy so much, or like it makes you get away with a lot, right? And it's basically that they're telling a story in a story. Right?
Yes. Many stories in a story even.
As soon as you're telling a story in a story, you can do anything.
Yes.
Okay? Because it's still...
You get away with everything.
Because would you say that this is a fantasy movie? Like...
Ish?
I guess. But it's actually not.
They've labeled this movie 5 different genres.
Yeah.
Which says a lot.
It's not
fantasy, but it's not drama, but it's both. And it's not romance, but it's all of them.
I would see this as something that would happen, you know?
Yeah.
This is something that could have happened.
Yeah.
You know? Because you're just getting away with stuff like that. And I think you could do that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
In different movies. Maybe someone is telling you about something that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
You know? Or something like that. Or there's a dream. Like I want to use dreams in movies.
Yeah, me too.
I want to use dreams. So you're in a dream and you can do anything, right? You can get away with anything.
Yeah, because it's a dream.
You don't need to go by the
logics or the
norms
norms or
It's a dream. You know, there's stuff like that you could get away. Or they're watching a movie and now you're inside that movie, you know? You can
we have a movie in a movie. Everything can happen in the movie that's happening
once
in a movie.
upon a time in Hollywood did that. And it was really great. Well, it wasn't like something like out of this world, but there's still like in a way Tarantino used some of the dialogue.
Yeah.
It's like it's related to the character.
Yeah.
So he could get away with saying those things.
Tim Burton is an expert on getting away.
Yeah, so think about that. That's a tip. That's something I learned or was like very clear to me from this movie. You can get away with things that you might not get away normally.
Right.
So that was my 2 things.
That were your 2 things. Your 2 short things.
2 short things.
No, but hey guys, so we're closing up on Big Fish. Watch this movie. Watch it many times. See everything. Find the Easter eggs. I don't think there are 36. I think there are a million.
110 things you didn't know about Big Fish.
Oh God.
And next week.
That's the next week we're doing
Knives
You're
Out.
Knives
Yeah,
Out.
Knives
You're
Out.
I was like, you're putting me
Ooh.
in a shit position right here. I
Why
don't
are you
remember.
doing this?
We're watching Knives Out, or
Knives
we
Out.
watched Knives Out by then. I hope.
I have
Again,
seen it,
I've seen
and
it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're talking about
We're
Knives
gonna watch
Out.
it again.
We're
Yeah.
gonna watch it again.
And it's really cool movie. Like I actually really like excited to talk about it.
Me too.
Because they're doing stuff.
They're doing a lot of stuff,
They're
and
doing
also a lot of
stuff.
stuff that's done in this movie, so we can actually draw
Yes.
lines.
Lines.
So,
we like
lines,
parallels.
parallels, lines, diagonals,
Wow.
circles.
Star.
Bye, guys.
Star.